Good morning, pop culture. We are live. It is Monday, July 12th, 2021. It's 10:19. Yes, 19. That's a time. It's between 10:19 and 10:20. It's 19. But it's 10:19 and it's time to start Good Morning Pop Culture. So you guys have requested it and it's here. So the way this has happened is we needed 1,000 thumbs up. We needed 1,000 thumbs up on a live stream to make this happen, and it's happened 7 times. So welcome into week 1. Last week, I couldn't because of travel. I'm still traveling, and I'll be traveling for quite some time. But people always tend to like Good Morning Pop Culture as a nice one-on-one discussion. You could be hanging out, driving to work, working and lurking, whatever you want to do. But that's what this show's about. So I thought I'd give you guys a little bit of a channel update. So, as we've seen, videos have been coming out. Thank you to everyone who's been watching those, sharing, subscribing, all that wonderful stuff. Another growth period, which is nice. Always appreciate when people check out the content. Love to read the comments. So all I'm trying to say is thank you. Now, it's great to be back. Life's been very, very busy to the point where I haven't even given myself enough time. And what I mean by that is everybody is difficult on themselves. But I have been living in this weird headspace of, oh my God, this, that, I got to get all these things done. Do this, do that. It hasn't even been like 2 months since the book closed. I haven't. I'm so in a million places all over that I just am like, oh, stressing out, getting here, getting there. It's been an issue. But now, Musa, Goose Fraba, whatever you want to use. Bad Boys 2, Anger Management. I like both movies. Bad Boys 2 is a lot cooler than Anger Management, but Anger Management is a much better film. Yeah, I said it. I haven't seen the third one yet. Bad Boys. Thankfully, there's not another Anger Management movie. But I digress. So we're back today. We're going to be talking about all sorts of things. Black Widow, Matt Damon. Yeah, Matt Damon. That motherfucker. Interesting stuff to talk about, Matt Damon. He threw a lot of money away. Like, more money than most actors have ever made in a career. He had an opportunity to make a fuckload of money with one job, and he said no. So we'll talk about that a little later. Now, folks, if you're a patron, if you're a subscriber over there, this coming Thursday's episode of the podcast is live. Yes. So this Thursday, the guys and I will be together for the first time since 2019, since the rise of Skywalker. We'll be in the same room. And why? We're going to a wedding. So we're not available next Thursday or this coming Thursday at this point. So we recorded a show. We talked about Black Widow. We talked about video stores. Somebody is opening up a brand new fake video store. And we took a second to bitch at a cloud and question, why the fuck are they making a fake video store? So, again, the real answers will be, the questions will be answered there. But just to give you guys a heads up, if you're anxious for episode 274, that's been live for the last few hours. I believe Darth Fatass has already listened and commented. Channel Dad Brian Lape is involved too. So, yeah, check it out. It's a lot of fun. Now, before we get into some of the topics, I wanted to talk about something weird. And fuck it, we have the time, we can make it happen. But let me put this image of, hold on, let's use somebody else. Because, controversial opinion, I like Florence Pugh more than I like Scarlett Johansson. So we'll use a picture of her. We'll use them both together. There you go. That's how people know what we're talking about. Both of them, the widows. So let's share this screen. Boom. All right. So, Black Widow. Before we talk about Black Widow, though, let's start talking to the chat. Liquor Jim, thank you very much. He says, thanks for the Axel Foley video. Well, Liquor Jim, thank you for the postcards, the constant positive affirmations. Thank you for everything. I don't mind saying it because you're always awesome, so thank you. I enjoyed making that video. Folks, if you want to hear me talk about a fictional product that I want more than almost anything, go check out the Axel Foley video. And if you're curious to what that means, well, I was part of Iconicon this past week. It's now over. But it was a wonderful experience. I got to work with Michael from Retro Blasting again, who's always, always awesome. He's one of my favorite YouTubers. Before I had a channel, I always watched that guy. Now that I have a channel, I still always watch that guy. Big fan of his work. Melinda's great, too. She put this whole thing together. Behind the scenes, she's been busting her ass. So I hope a lot of people out there that are fans of all of our channels acknowledge how much time she's put in. And you know what? Retro Blasting is both of them. It always has been. Go look at the logo. It's Michael and Melinda. So they've been busy. They've been putting out a really awesome online event because there is no Comic-Con this year. It's going to be digital, but Iconicon beat Comic-Con. And, you're going to get a lot more passion from Iconicon. You did. Go back and watch the live stream. Salvador from 2 Cent Toys, Toy Polloi, Analog Toys, all channels that I watched got together. It was like the Avengers of toy collecting, and it was awesome to be a part of it. That's the thing. Like, as a fan watching stuff, it'd be like if you guys got asked to be a part of, I don't know, some people hate Marvel, some people hate Star Wars, but imagine something you like that you got asked to be a part of. It's cool. So, Liquor Jim, that's where the Axel Foley video came from. Now, full transparency, when I was talking to Sal about doing the video, I was like, all right, I guess I agreed. Let's see what I could talk about. Because I thought, I got great pop culture videos to make. And I have these lists that I keep on my phone or at home or anything like that. And I looked at it, I was like, oh shit, this is all about the 90s. And I need stuff for the 80s. So I went and I pulled out the one. I have 2 videos I've always wanted to make about Beverly Hills Cop. One is about the toy, which I now have. And there's one I want to make titled the Forgotten Blockbuster. Because that movie made so much money, but nobody really talks about it. So, I don't know. There are big movies that actually it just comes down to this. Corporations, or Paramount, doesn't see much value in him anymore. Those movies came and went. The 80s, actually, Beverly Hills Cop is a lot like Avatar, where it came out, it was a big deal. Its impact isn't seen. It's felt, but not seen. Now, the Avatar impact was negative. 3D movies were the fucking norm, and excuse me for yelling at you this loudly in the morning, but I have issues with 3D movies. They sucked. They made you pay 50% more for a ticket. At the end of the day, I'm always about giving the consumer the best experience, and that includes the price. Believe me, I take those things into account myself. And so a 3D movie for 50% or double the price, well, that'd be 100%, but you know what I mean? They either increase it 50 or 100%. I've been to places where I've seen $23 movie tickets, $25 3D movie tickets. Sadly, the norm has increased. That's what I'm getting at. Avatar showed studios that a few tweaks can make your box office go up exponentially because fans, in quotation, people, the audience, they think we're dumb. They treat us like we're dumb. And so Avatar had that negative effect. Beverly Hills Cop had a very positive effect. Yes, it's one of my favorites. I know. I really can't think of negative impacts Beverly Hills Cop had because it really opened up the door for the black comedian. And what I mean by that is there is a certain type of movie that you put a black comedian in at a certain point in their career, and it's a star maker. Eddie Murphy, Beverly Hills Cop. We're trading places, but 48 hours. Little different. Beverly Hills Cop was the biggest thing of that year. It beat Ghostbusters. Look it up. The same thing with Chris Tucker and Rush Hour, the Rush Hour series. Go back and watch Rush Hour, Blue Streak, and Beverly Hills Cop, and see that is the blueprint for that type of actor. The young black comedian trying to become an actor, put him in these roles. Because the same thing goes with Chris Tucker. Yeah, he was in The Fifth Element. Yeah, he was in Friday. He had done a couple other things, but it's that role that put him in the $20 million per picture club and got him in trouble with taxes and all this stuff. So those are the positive trends. And so I've always wanted to make a video about the forgotten blockbuster. Where did it go? Because a movie that makes $316 million in 1984 bucks, I can't go to a store and buy a t-shirt. I can't go to a store and really find the movie that often. I can't get a soundtrack, anything like that. And it was a, double platinum selling album. So my point is, really, it's meant to hold up the mirror to something like a Marvel, because you can have your merchandise, or Star Wars, we'll use Star Wars because everyone's whatever with Star Wars, but you can have your merchandise permeate, you can have your stuff there, it can be in front of you, but it doesn't really stick. On the flip side, this is a movie that stuck with me that I love everything about and I can't get anything. Or it's not remembered. But Liquor Jim, long way to answer, and thank you for the super chat. But I appreciate you. So let's see here. Bomb Shoes, what's up? I have not played any video games, so this is one of the few times I can't say. I should take it back. I've been playing PC games. We'll talk about that in a minute. Yeah, I kind of did the thing I swore I'd never do. Bomb Shoe says, just saw Black Widow yesterday. Wasn't the best, wasn't the worst, but damn. The Paramore block thing was really, really stupid. Yeah, so I think, with all due respect, did you mean pheromone blocker? Because it's probably autocorrect. So I'm going to treat it like pheromone blocker because I haven't seen the chat. Now, I do think it's dumb. Here, you guys want to hear how compelling that was? We talked to a doctor, aka Jesse's dad, and we went into detail about what it would take But as a doctor who went to Yale Medical School, who I'm actually going to trust over a fucking person on the internet, and I'm not talking about you guys, I'm talking about writers, bloggers. Oh, I went to a website, I did my research. Guess what? This guy went to medical school. We talked about, I forgot the fucking terms. Point is, you could plug your nose up and get the same effect. He said that. He gave us the medical definition about there's some kind of plate that when you break your nose, you would be leaking brain fluid. If your nose was this, you have so much time before, like rhinitis. He gave us all these fucking names, like real medical definitions. But he ended it with, you could have just blocked your nose and got the same effect. So I know it's an action movie. I always take actually movies in general, because reality sucks, because you turn on the news, people are fighting, you go out in the street. Something interesting. Sorry, this is a morning show. I bounce around. You guys know. We talk about California. I live there. It's whatever. The homeless in Philadelphia, way more of a problem. Everyone jokes about, hey, you go to California, you got people sleeping on the street. In Philadelphia, we bought a bum food last night. They're everywhere. They sleep on the street. Can you help? They all have a phrase too. Can you help the homeless? This, that, and the other. And it's not like where we live, where it's like, you see some homeless people walking around. This is like every 10 feet, they're sleeping on this corner, this, that, and the other. So I find it interesting in my travels how preconceived notions about one place versus the realities of another. And I think they're equally disappointing. So, sorry, don't mean to go off on that tangent, but Bomb Shoes, we gave Black Widow a 6 out of 10. 7 out of 10 is too generous, because I wouldn't say 70% of it was good. I always give my number ratings. Did I enjoy X percentage of the film? And I try to break it down, not for you guys because you're smart, but just for really my process is so you can look at what I'm saying at face value and not be confused. Sometimes I go into nauseating detail, but sometimes because of the environment, the situation, or because the internet makes you watch everything you say. So if I'm going to be told I said all these horrific things and caused all these problems, I at least want to say it to the point where I bore you. But I digress. So yes, 6 out of 10 for us. I have a video coming out. I've learned something. Don't give out your best bits on a live stream, because you never know who's watching. Like the Joker says, like my father taught me, if you're good at something, never do it for free. So just come back and watch tomorrow, because I've been doing some research on Black Widow. And it's very interesting how, again, the news, the media, everybody wants to put Black Widow, they want to promote it a certain way and then promote its box office a certain way. But let's not be disingenuous. Let's be honest, because luckily we have the numbers, we have, black and white facts right in front of us. For this movie and every other movie and TV show, like all these things, we have all this data. So for as much as the industry wants to throw these numbers out at you at the most convenient times, it's really not that hard to do your work and see exactly how great or how terrible or how any of these things are. But when it comes to Black Widow, I definitely felt the lack of emotional connection to Natasha. In our review, I said it felt like they gave Florence Pugh all the best Scarlett Johansson bits, so when they inevitably make this new Avengers team with your Falcon, Captain America, and your bullshit this, and her replacing Black Widow, all you're going to get, folks, is and it's sad, Marvel doesn't respect you enough to give you new characters. What that means is they're going to give you an Iron Man caricature. They're going to give you a Cap caricature. I love the Avengers for the most part, but I would be lying if I didn't think that there was somebody in a boardroom going, these characters are good for this portion of the audience, this, that, and the other, to the point where it wasn't organic. I love talking about the science of why things work, how you put it together, to sell a product. I understand that, but there's also this intersection with art and creativity, creation. All of these things are important to films, TVs, comic books, movies, trading cards, all of these great things that people love. You have to remember that art intersects with these decisions. And as an audience member, when the art isn't so good that I'm blinded to the scientific reasoning behind X character or this, that, and the other, when that's more transparent than the story reasons, then I start to check out. And all of this is, in a roundabout way, Every new Avenger is just the same power set, the same personality, this, that, and the other. You like Thor, here's Lady Thor. Or you like the Black Widow, the only difference, here's her sister. Like, that's what they're giving us. And it's not, oh God, I'm so afraid of that's what they're giving us. That's what it is. You don't have to go out and see Black Widow if you don't want to. But you don't have to skip out on it for some ideological bullshit. If you liked the Marvel movies and you want to go see it, who am I to tell you how to live your life? I've always said this on the channel. I don't call for boycotts. I tell people to do what they want. If you don't want to see it for a myriad of reasons, don't. If you want to, go. I don't care. At the end of the day, do what makes you the happiest. I'm just happy we're all here hanging out. So, let's see. William says that video is eye-opening for sure. Bob Ross, not Axel. Yeah, I was. The Golden Girls were the one that hurt me. Bob Ross, the Golden Girls, and Richard Simmons are ironic action figure choices that sell because people think they're kitschy and weird and funny. There's just other stuff. Maybe it's royalties. Maybe it's too expensive. Maybe they don't see a value. And I understand. It's my favorite thing that I'm, petitioning for. But if I made this argument in 2008 or 2006, before Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull was coming out, like we knew, if I would have made a similar thing for an Indiana Jones toy, I would have wanted the same outcome, and I feel like it has the same impact. So yeah, Beverly Hills Cop, make the fucking figure. I don't need everybody, just Axel. So let's see here. I did not see Radio Man. I did not see that video from Heel versus Baby, or as you call him. Taskmaster's gender swap is stupid, but I don't. Black Widow is a shitty enough movie that, like, how do I phrase it? Marvel's doing this to themselves, and I don't care. Like, I don't like some of these decisions, but what it does is when people push back and it hurts them, it lets them know that those weren't good decisions. So I like that he's putting out, I haven't seen it, so I can't comment on what's in the video, but I do like that people are calling them out on this type of shit, because I don't think you need to be hyper vigilant. Actually, what I think needs to happen is understanding why people did what we did around The Last Jedi and why things were the way they were, because the smart conversation always needs to be had. And as has been that, I've only interacted with him a few times, but he brings the smart conversation. Mahler brings the smart conversation. We do. All these places do. I like that. And when you bring up those types of conversations, it proves to you that no piece of art is above criticism. And I think it opens those critiques really should at least be listened to, because nothing is perfect. Nothing. Your favorite movie, my favorite movie, nothing is perfect. Back to the Future, I love it. Guess what? There are a couple shots where actually, I think they kind of fixed that for the 4K, but like earlier versions or just releases, the same special effects, Marty looking at his hand, weren't as well integrated in. Or the shot where the DeLorean time travels for the first time with the tire tread of flames that go through Doc and Marty's legs and they turn around. Go watch an earlier release. The composite effects were always whatever. Pretty sure they've gone back to fix to the point where the shot looks damn good. And the point I'm trying to get, though, is you can always critique the things you like. It doesn't make you a hater. I'm so tired of that regressive thought, a hater, a hater. No, it's called critiquing. You can have valid critiques, invalid critiques. If I sat and spent an entire video talking about how stupid I think the white suit looks, blah, 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 that's bullshit criticism. That's just being, I wouldn't even say being a hater. That's just being ridiculous. But the Taskmaster stuff, I always get mad and question these motivations because it shows Marvel's lack of long-term planning. Seriously, they don't have a long-term plan. If they have a character like Taskmaster, like, there's two ways to look at it. Either she's ruined, not because it's a she, that's stupid, and that ruins it for me. That is the first ding against it. And I don't like when characters are changed, even if I don't give a fuck about it. I own a Taskmaster figure from the Marvel Legends line. I was collecting, and still am, comic book figures. I don't like MCU toys, not because of ideology. I just don't like the designs. I go on and on about liking these movies, but if I sat and told you the artistic, and I just mean like the literal artistic choices, like Thor's, I actually like Thor's costume, but like costume choices, this, that, and the other, it would sound like I hate it. So I kind of don't talk about it. Like if the audience was there, I could critique or bitch about every Spider-Man suit post Spider-Man 3. But who cares? It's realistic criticism. There's realistic things to be concerned about with. And so my concern is the lack of long-term planning, because if we're supposed to be invested in the MCU still, see, their marketing plan changed, and it's not unfair for us to still expect the same experience when they're trying to sell us the same thing. It's a bait and switch. The Marvel Universe, the most expansive, epic story ever told cinematically. Everything's connected. Everything has meaning. And guess what? Just as we've been conditioned to and look for and are really happy with it, a decade in, they pull the rug out from under you. Why? To subvert your expectations? No, because they're in a rush to make money and they don't plan shit out. The Kevin Feige era, yeah, he's there. He's the big boss. He's the king. But this Jack Schaefer and these new producers, these are the new voices that are guiding the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So go look at what they made. WandaVision, all of these shows and movies, they all have the same feel. They're all small. They're all inconsequential. They're to keep our attention while they try and pay more money to Robert Downey Jr. Like, Marvel, you've put yourself in a hole. And why should I throw you a rope? We get a talking to. Oh, you shouldn't, whatever, because of the male gaze. You put the tits on the screen. I paid money to see the tits on screen. Don't blame me. I just paid for a PG-13 movie. I never met Scarlett Johansson. Oh, you ogled her and made her feel weird. How? I've never even shared a room with her, and I don't want to. I don't care. It's not a big deal. I want the same interaction and talking to from celebrities that I personally give to them. None. Like, what the fuck? Oh, if you go see this movie, it's like, this movie spits in the face of the patriarchy, this, that, and the other. And how come every shot is a woman's ass in frame? And, I'm a guy. You put girls in gray sweatpants. Very, very, what's the word I'm looking for? They made that decision very carefully. You know what's up? So I find a movie like this very disingenuous, that wants to give you a talking to, but then give you the psychological markers that you want. Hey, you're a piece of shit for wanting this, but I'm going to give it to you. And then you're going to come see the movie, and I'm going to call you a piece of shit. Like, that's the cycle we're in right now. Just because she's not as sexy in the first one, this movie, they do the same shit and then chastise you. It's stupid. It's stupid. Let's see. El Guide Aura, what is up? What is up, everybody? Thank you for joining us this morning for Good Morning Pop Culture. There's Cesaria Japan. Working and lurking crew reporting in. Well, thank you, Henry, a.k.a. Cesaria Japan, or Caesar Jorpin, as you're known over on Anna's stream. What's Anna up to these days? She went out of town. We went out of town. We didn't really text much, but we'll reconvene. I was excited to get the posters back from the campaign because I had never seen the art printed before, and everything looks cool. I was super happy. Jessie got upset because, well, not upset, she got nervous. She thought I was upset because the cat walked on one of the posters I had, and I'm like, dude, that's the sample pile to make sure that I knew everything looked good. And so everything looks cool. I got that fucking pillow. I felt kind of weird having a pillow with my face, but it was fun. Now, Stone Puppets, I know I could use a new mic. Actually, I'm using a brand new iPad, the newest iPad. But guess what? My microphone broke. I have had 4 Blue Yetis. 3 have broken. I have spent the most to get the nicest stuff, but I can't help when the USB connector breaks on 2 separate microphones. They really, to present yourself as the gold standard in USB microphone technology, maybe let your shit work for more than 2 years. I don't mind spending $220 on a microphone, but I mind when that shit breaks. Not only have I bought the regular microphone twice, I bought the travel microphone. That broke with a connector too. And guess what? Can't help it. So for the time being, it will be because back home I have a brand new, another Blue Yeti. Better than these ones, with all the bells and whistles. Actually, I love doing this as a justification to get new equipment. It's like, oh, I got a computer. Awesome. Yeah, I can game on it, but it's for work. That's why I was playing Portal with an Xbox controller this weekend on Steam, because maybe PC gaming and console gaming can coexist. But I'm going to say something that's going to piss a lot of people off. That new Microsoft xCloud service is bullshit. I love Xbox. I love PlayStation. I love Nintendo. This doesn't work. It doesn't fucking play. I tried to play Halo 10 times multiplayer. There's a second lag. That's it. And when you're playing a competitive game online, you can't have any lag. No. So Horace Cock Johnson, what is up? Haven't heard from you in a while. He sends in a super chat sticker. So thank you very much, Horace Cock Johnson. I appreciate that. How you been? Let's see. I feel weird when somebody sends it. I appreciate everything. Don't take it that way. But I always want to thank you for the sticker. But at this amount, spend more time, kind of. But thank you for everything. Thanks for backing the comic, too. Joseph Yanowich says, the whole problem I have with Black Widow is that it should have had a standalone before Endgame. Captain Marvel, well, is an ongoing failed character. Joseph, the words you're saying, I agree with. I agree that Black Widow should have had a standalone film before Endgame. I think she should have had a standalone film before Infinity War. Because everyone is talking about her death. Her death. That's the defining moment. But watching Black Widow is literally a setup to Infinity War. The fucking green vest that Florence Pugh has on is the outfit that she has, Black Widow has in Infinity War. How she dyes her hair, how she's going to get the Quinjet, how she's going to get Cap, how she's going to break everybody out. This whole movie is a build-up to Infinity War. Controversial opinion. You want the best structured narrative? You put this in place of Black Widow or Black Panther. Black and black, Black History Month. Black Widow, Black Panther. Disney doesn't care. It's all money, right? Isn't that how they see us? Interchangeable. Why can't we see their movies as interchangeable? Because a movie is just a product, not a political ideology, not a product to further your agenda. No, it's a movie. All movies are the same. They're a product. Let's not act like Black Widow versus Black Panther is an ideology, church versus whatever you hold in the highest regard, religion, romance, anything, whatever is the most important thing to you. It's like comparing that to, I don't know, a nail clipper. Irrelevant. So yeah, I would say Black Widow fits best where Black Panther goes. Then you have Infinity War. Cool, you're on board. Because nothing I got from Black Panther got me pumped for Infinity War. I was ready to walk into Infinity War. What do we go back for? Before Infinity War is the first of 2018, 2017. Thor Ragnarok. I was ready for Infinity War right after Thor Ragnarok. I could have walked in. Like, I would have, if I had time travel powers, that's how I would have abused them. Yes, I would have used them to make a shitload of money. And then what I would do is, if my time travel was easy, like, walking and snapping your fingers or getting into a device like Kang the Conqueror, that chair, or time traveling DeLorean. My point is, what I would have loved to have done is go see the movie that I was into, look at my watch, go out to the car, get it up to 88, jump to the fucking day the next movie comes out, go see that movie, and then come back. Like, that's the only thing. I was so invested in the narrative that they had moving forward because it all made sense. Even the lesser films, you're moving towards the goal. I'm doing that stupid crawling on the arm motion because I'm trying to show you can slow down your progress. But if you're still working, it helps. Not last year because there's a whole year in between, but like when Captain Marvel came out, the agenda in marketing was there, heavy-handed, and very much a problem. Black Widow surprisingly learned from that, meaning like there's a lot of that, but it's not the driving focus. And you can't have that be because Captain Marvel has damaged PR. For as much as Lucasfilm likes to deny that The Last Jedi had any negative impact on Star Wars, it's like the same when people say, well, Captain Marvel had no negative impact. Look, it made its money. It has made so many people gun shy. Money now is great, but so is money in the future. And the problem that Disney ran into and Marvel is that they could have come up with a fucking scenario where everybody wins. I don't know if there's some intergalactic force that's like, I'm going to blow up the planet if you don't make a female-led Marvel movie. Black Widow was the perfect choice. Fuck, you could have made us. And if you want to go with we can just make anything to pull out of our ass movie, okay, fine. Why not Misty Knight? She's in Luke Cage. Why not her? Why not any of these characters? It's funny how Marvel wants to promote diversity with a movie like this and Captain Marvel, but it's the same old status quo. It's just like, well, women are in the lead. But a minute ago, guys, you said white leads were the problem. Like Disney, any company, jumping into the political Ring with their entertainment product becomes open for criticism of these things because you put yourselves in the conversation. You are now part of it. So you wanted to be in the conversation. You're here to do something about it. See how Guy de Oro does. There was a shot where she's carrying a briefcase, and for a good 10 seconds, the camera was more focused on her butt than anything. And it is. Did I save the meme? Because I thought it was funny where this movie is all about this and that. The advertising is, but the movie's butt shot after butt shot. And as a guy, I picked up on it. Now, what's the problem, folks? Answer me this in the chat. I'd like to know your opinion. Is it worse to take the marketing approach like they are, where men are putting men in their place, but then giving us a movie where it's got all that? Or is it better to just not say it and then just make a movie that you're like, if you have something that you're trying to change, maybe just make a product with those changes in it. Don't try to sell it as a groundbreaking product because people reverse the change. And then when they go, oh, that's what you meant? That was pretty cool. Now, this movie doesn't do any of that. It doesn't deserve any of that because Marvel and Disney hasn't engendered that kind of a response from the audience. But ideally is what we talk about here. That's what we want. And so I'm a straight guy. I like the butt shots in movies. Cool. But don't try to guilt me because I didn't make that movie. If I made a movie and I made everyone uncomfortable on set and I made them do shit and I didn't pay them and I did all these terrible things that apparently these actors go through, they're just picked up from wherever they live. They agree to do this and then they're just beat up for 6 weeks and then their movie. No, that's not how this shit works. So just shut up. Stop trying to talk down to us. No condescension. We don't need that anymore. We don't need it. We never have needed that anymore. We don't need your sass, Hollywood. I think that's the best way to describe it. Get pedantic and petty with them because they like to do that to us. So let us get all caught up with everything. Breadman Productions, good morning to you. Breadman Productions asked, did your Yeti break last week because you couldn't stand Buffalo Jeff anymore? I wish that were the case. The thing is, the Yeti worked up until the other day. If you go back and listen to our most recent videos, those were recorded here in this hotel room with this Blue Yeti. And the messed up part is too, like it plugs in, it connects, the light turns on. So Joseph Bienowicz says, what up, Jeff? Lord of Muff. What up, Joseph Bienowicz? All sorts of things are up. Things are good, man. It would be disingenuous to sit and tell the audience, oh, my life is miserable and I'm this and I need this to do. Look, I'm lucky. Everyone's got problems, but shit's pretty good. That's why, I can be the way I am. How did she break Cap out? We don't know, Dark Winter, but Cap was never arrested. Excuse me. I guess I misspoke. What I mean is she says, I got a lot of people to break out. And then it never really mentions Cap, but I put that on there because her and Cap meet up. And Cap never got captured. Cap, right? He just walks away with Bucky. Yeah, they're on the run. They're on the lam. Cap's probably in Wakanda. Or found a back door to America. So let's see. So yeah, that's the stuff with Cap. Thank you, Joseph Bianowicz. Yes, folks, hit that thumbs up button. And over on our Facebook page, this will probably be archived for a little bit because of YouTube algorithm. Yes, I know it sounds stupid, but YouTube algorithm prevents live streams from being indexed solely in a row because it hurts video views. And that's the answer, just flat out. It would kill the channel if we did, everything like that. So, and the reason I say it like that with such clarity is because back in the 2018, our biggest year of growth at that time, Good Morning Pop Culture froze the growth. We were growing like 20K a month, 4,000 subscribers in 4 months. So that's what it was. When I stopped it, it jumped back up. So that is what's up, man. But we got these. And there's going to be some more fun live streams. As soon as I get back, I'll be showing off all the books. We'll be doing a lot of fulfillment on a live stream just for fun to keep the energy high. And I'm just excited. So Al Qaeda says, from what I heard, they wanted to make a Black Widow film, but didn't because Ike Perlmutter thought women didn't sell. I remember reading a lot about Ike Perlmutter in general. You do. You have to read up on these people when you're making videos about them. I know the narrative is to say, look, that's what I've read, and I'm not saying I disagree or you're wrong with that. I have a weird conflicted thing with Ike Perlmutter because while the dude may not have these great views on movies, like he's not the world's worst person. Like I think I read a thing where he gave like $50 million to a cancer wing or something. So I'm like, it's hard to get mad. Like, look, because he's operating from the old ways, but the old ways kind of proved that true. Superman made a ton of money. Supergirl didn't. It wasn't a well-made film, but it still didn't. We've reached a point where female-led can be better than male-led. It just depends on the fucking movie, but we're not. You know what this really is we're just waiting to be proven that, because even this movie isn't the biggest Marvel movie. It's not the biggest one led by a woman. It's not the biggest anything. It didn't make more than any of the Captain Americas yet. It didn't do anything. Oh, Jeff, it's only been out a couple days. But these people act like the opening weekend is the victory line, and that's it. Oh, I had a great opening weekend. How many movies can we go open at number one and shit the bed later? There are tons of box office drops. Star Wars, 67%, 80% here and there. These movies can live and die. But the best thing for all of this is just to pay attention and watch the trends. Dakari Gorman, thank you very much for your super chat. The reason for Black Widow movie was so Marvel could have an army of new Black Widows to take Natasha's place. No one has earned the title. To me, that's what they're doing with Florence Pugh. She was an it actress. She's good. I don't have anything bad to say about her. She's a good actress. It's good, blah, 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 blah. She also, from certain angles, reminds me enough of Scarlett Johansson that in the right costume, while I'll never think it's the same character, I will have a sense of comfort. There are certain traits for James Bond. Though Connery, Dalton, Brosnan, they look nothing alike, there's certain traits that they all have, certain shape, like jaw lines or hair, this or that. And so that comes into the decision making when you cast these characters, because, well, it's James Bond, he looks a certain way, this, that, and the other. I think there's a psychological reason too. She looks in passing like they could be related, whatever, this, that. People just go, and they kind of overlook it. It's one of those weird, like, I've been reading on a lot of psychology, whatever psychologically is, not in that right context. Anyway, I've been reading up a lot of psychology, and a lot of this stuff is just what they're doing with these movies. Very basic things I guess what it is to minimize cognitive dissonance. What it does is it makes your brain look at something that's different, but then you get comfortable and you stop questioning. And what that means is money. You stop questioning these things, and people just kind of go like, oh, that's my hand doing that little make it rain sign. And I wish we could have known that the next era of Marvel, like, yeah, there's different phases, but now we're on phase 4. I wish we could have known that when it shits the bed, like exactly what they were going to do, like try to reset it again. Because you can't bring back Thanos, even though they have in the movie. They did in one movie. They killed him and brought him back to kill him again. Talk about an unemotional climax. I didn't give a shit that they beat Thanos. Why? Because it's not the same Thanos. We want to talk about personal growth and development and characters and all this shit. That Thanos that died was at the end of the movie, not at the beginning of the movie, was a different man, as in he didn't have that spiritual journey that he went on in Infinity War. He didn't know what it was like to wield the ultimate power because he didn't suffer the loss and all that stuff. Thanos is a very compelling villain in Infinity War. In Endgame, he's a stupid asshole. There, I can't even come up with a better word. He's just dumb. He's a big purple jabroni. Like, he doesn't do as much as people like to give him credit for. Oh, he's so powerful. He's so threatening. No, he's not. He died. We watched him complete his journey, and then I was done. Like, that was cool. That was awesome. They found him. They cut his arm off or his head off, this, that, and the other. All right. Thematically, I hated the cyclical nature because, oh, it's time, it's this, it's that. All that is for Marvel is rehash a clock. This guy has a shield. This guy fights. Like, let's break it down for a moment with Black Widow. What's the difference between Black Widow and Winter Soldier? Obviously, one's amazing, one's eh. But you know what Black Widow does, and what other Marvel movies, these continuing ones, make me do? Question if they were ever that good. I know it's stupid to say it like that, but I always go, was it that good, or were other ones that terrible? And I come to the realization that that's mostly Zack Snyder shit, because I love some of the things from some of the characters, some of the moments, some of the choices. But I always ask myself, is it because it's great or it's because everything else is terrible? And with Henry Cavill as Superman, I think he's one of those choices where he's great in something terrible. And I guess I want to get what I want to say, but thinking about it wouldn't be exactly accurate. Is I want to say that's Ben Affleck Batman in the Zack Snyder movies, but I like Ben Affleck Batman a lot more than most actors. Upon self reflection, we're taking animated out because animated doesn't count. Sorry, look, animated's unfair for the animated. It's not disrespectful to lead out Mark Hamill and Kevin Conroy as the greatest Joker and Batman, respectively. They are. But a lot of that comes from animation and storytelling elements and things that are out of their control and power. It's like the most perfect form of Batman because you have 20 people making it perfect. You can argue, well, you have that for the live action too, but it's a little different. Actually, it's a lot different. So that's why I take them out. But to the point I'm trying to get at is I put Ben Affleck at 3. I prefer Michael Keaton. He's the best. I like Christian Bale. He did a good job. And then I like Ben Affleck. Val Kilmer, very good. George Clooney, terrible. Adam West, love him. I almost want to put Adam West in his own category because Campy Batman is not... Frank Miller's Batman Dark Knight Returns is one of the best stories ever, but it changed Batman from 1986 moving forward. You have pre- and post-Dark Knight Batman. Pre-Dark Knight Batman, I love Adam West. And then post, I love Adam West too, but I don't consider them the same Batman. You could argue that, well, the Ben Affleck, Christian Bale, Michael Keaton are all different Batmans too, but they're trying to capture a certain era of Batman that only existed thanks to Frank Miller's creations. You do not have Batman 89 without Dark Knight Returns and Batman Year One influencing... Actually, it's not even just influencing Batman, it's changing the public perception of what Batman was. Because up until that point, Batman was a fucking joke. He was Biff Bam Pow Zaki Zowie. He was not the Dark Knight. Nolan fixed Batman's image and ruined Batman's image. Every iteration of Batman fixes and then changes, and maybe change equals ruins Batman. So, for example, Nolan, everyone can agree in quotations that The Dark Knight is the best Batman movie, but his voice is fucking stupid and I can't understand him half the time. That's a joke. That takes me out of the movie. That's dumb. So, I don't even know why we're going on about Batman. Excuse me. My point is, though, upon the further reflection, he's much better. So, Black Widow should have come out before the first Avengers movie, says Nerdigans Incorporated. I disagree. I think Phase 1 is almost perfect the way it is. If you went on the ride, it was a roller coaster. Phase 1 was the only time where Marvel movies felt like a roller coaster. You didn't know it was coming. The laughs, the suspense, the thrills, like when Coulson got killed. Well, I didn't see that one coming. See, this is before those movies became the homogenous joke that we lampoon and critique. Early Marvel Cinematic Universe had teeth, had balls. The first Avengers was rated R because it was too violent. Go back and watch that movie. The Hulk smashes. He takes a Chitauri, and they left it in the movie, and he crushes his head like a grape. But what they do, pay attention, it's the shot where he's on the roof fighting two of them because he punches one down, and simultaneously he squishes his head, and it's cool. Now we have the Hulk who can't get it up. He can't become the Hulk because it's funny. It's funny to have those problems. It's funny to make him neurotic and weird and lame. I want to watch superheroes do superheroic things. I want to watch Superman, or I want to watch Spider-Man do superheroic things and then be smacked down to reality when he's Peter Parker. I want all of those cool, epic things. And Nerdigans, I thought the first Marvel wave, and that's kind of where some of my passion and venom to fight and say I like this shit comes from, because it started out awesome. Yeah, Iron Man 2 isn't that great. It isn't good, but it wasn't bad to the point, because you know what? It's a bad movie that did what it needed to do well. I ignored Vanko and all that stupid shit with Justin Hammer and the dancing, but I cared about Nick Fury and the Avengers Initiative and why isn't Tony Stark good enough, and he's dying, is his heart, blah, blah, blah. He couldn't be an alcoholic because Disney. Like, I know Disney didn't make that movie, but you know what's up. The point is, back then, with the teeth, with the desire to prove something, really, this is another parallel or analogy, but it's like being hungry. Marvel has nothing left to prove because people just blindly throw their money at the screen. It's our fault. It's their fault. I can think of a few franchises that never got lazy and complacent. Lethal Weapon oh, Jeff, Lethal Weapon 4. No, Lethal Weapon 4 is actually a nice narrative, nice natural conclusion to what they had built for the last, what was that? Over almost 10 years, the last 11 years at that time, 87 to 98. So, yeah, that never really dropped. John Wick hasn't dropped the ball yet. Those movies are still trying to show you something new. Not even trying, they are. Those movies are showing you something new and awesome every time you go into one. The first one's a cool action movie that kind of tugs at your hearts. We can understand the guys, oh man, my girlfriend died, or my wife, or whatever. You can understand the emotion. But then the dog, and then everybody gets it too. Like, that movie was slick. One, it's great, but it knew how to hook you. You need a good emotional hook. The old emotional hook for Marvel was come on the biggest journey ever. But like we all know, every ride comes to an end. And that's kind of it. That's where we are with Marvel. So let's see what you guys are saying about some of these topics. Let me go up, scroll up a little more, see where we are. Nerdigans, thank you very much. Let's see. The stuff about the Olympic weed smoking broke my heart. Nerdigans, you're not really that wrong. Yeah, Captain America was on the run, Joseph. You're right. He's too cool to be caught. Can I just say for a moment, though, the ethical issue I had with Captain America getting a happily ever after? I understand that it's nice, but isn't it exactly what the TVA would fight against? You're going against the timeline. But it's so beautiful. The time there. See, that's why I say fuck Loki, even though I like the show. They are finding. Basically, they'll listen to the fans' criticism, and they have found a way to shut you the fuck up because time, alternate, always predetermined. But then you can have the discussion about, well, the predetermined ethics, this, that, and the other. Folks, if anything, you can talk about the ideology, anything like that. Just pay attention to what they're doing. You don't have to give them a single dollar, but pay attention to all the official releases because you can watch a big company. You ever seen somebody like in an interview get nervous and they look around and you're like, oh shit, they don't know what's up anymore? That's what's happening right now. It's like, they don't know, so they're looking around all the time. Let's see. Hollywood's projecting their own. Hollywood is doing a lot of projecting. I hate that shit. I don't need to suffer for their sins. Let's see what else we got right here. So good morning, pop culture. Just trying to catch up with a little of the audience. Tito Torres says, bedridden due to injury, but this makes it better. Well, Tito Torres, I'm sorry that you're bedridden. Hopefully you have a quick recovery. But I'm glad you're enjoying the show. Maybe what I'll do is just... See, now I hear this, I'm like, man, I want to do more. It's so fun. And it is. Because what it is I can talk to you guys and enjoy it. And, yeah, that was my shoe. Sorry. But Tito, I hope you nothing but a speedy recovery. So hopefully it's nothing that's going to be permanent or anything like that. And yeah, we will be back with more. And if there's anything I can do, man, let me know. Being laid up sucks. All right, I think we're all caught up on everything there. Did they do that to the Hulk in the new Marvel movie? Well, James, what I meant by that with the Hulk is they did that in Avengers Infinity War. This big green rage monster who's supposed to be epic. Like, I understand that. I'm a guy. I get why you can have something happen to you and, make you gun shy. But, like, no, this isn't real. It's not even about being realistic. It's just stupid. Like, not only is it unrealistic to what has been presented to us, because that's what we're saying. Well, it's not realistic. Put a man with a suit of armor that can turn from nanobots is. No, but in their universe, they have sets of rules. We have followed those rules. You should follow those rules too. Don't change them just because it's a lazy narrative structure. I would love to watch some writer struggle for a fucking month. How can I make Doctor Strange do this when he said that in this line or in this movie? Instead of going, well, it's an alternate dimension, it doesn't matter. I would rather have the work done because it shows up on screen. Example. Robin's parents were not allowed to be shown dying on Batman the Animated Series. There's a beautiful workaround. What do? They show the trapeze rope come back empty. They had to create something visually stunning and impactful that a child could comprehend depth. Yes, that's because of weird network censorship, but that's also because someone was presented with a problem and had to address it creatively. That's a good problem to have because we all benefit. So maybe holding the people that have these rights accountable is the problem because they're stupid. Maybe the people in charge. The older I get, at least, I realize the people in control are in control because of who they know, not what they know, and they're just as dumb as your most dumb person. They just have the right status, they have the right thing, they have the right thoughts. I miss real creators creating. Your old school guys that are out there living a life experience, out on the road, doing stuff. I don't even like the Beatles that much, but we watched this movie at Jesse's parents called Yesterday, where this guy gets hit by a bus during this quantum cosmic event, and it sends him into a reality that's everything's essentially the same, but he's the only person that remembers the Beatles. So he starts writing the songs down to the best of his memory, and he plays them and becomes this huge megastar. And I watched a movie like that and was able to get some fulfillment out of a full story, something that was, I don't know, you ever walk out of a movie and just feel better? That was one of those movies. And hold on one second. All right, I am back. Sorry about that, folks. They turned Hulk sway. Yes, Batman, well, they did. The new Hawkeye, I'd rather focus on Clint, I assume. Well, Dark Winter, I expect. Well, if you saw the post-credit sequence for Black Widow, you know how they're going to treat Hawkeye. Can we stop having heroes fight other superheroes and just create villains? Because what we're doing is we're writing these great stories, or these good enough stories to fight other heroes. I understand that a lot of early Marvel was heroes fighting heroes. Like Stan Lee would sell you 1,000,000 comic books. Oh my God, the Fantastic Four are meeting the Avengers. It's like, look, Stan, it's great. But holy shit. Stop. Because Marvel has the deficiency now. Like, who are their great villains? Loki's their best villain. Oh, it's Thanos. No, it's Loki. I will argue Loki's much. No, fuck, man. Zemo. Zemo's the best. Zemo is the best Marvel Universe villain because he beat the Avengers. Nobody else could. Well, Thanos won. Thanos just used raw fucking power to beat people into submission and took over the world. Baron Zemo was so smart. He got the Avengers to beat themselves. He's the greatest villain. And now they need him still. And he's the best. I don't even like Winter Soldier Falcon anymore. I have been turned off to it by that closing speech. I feel like that is representative of the biggest problem when you want to put politics into entertainment, because it basically gives the people in that show a free pass for murder and theft and all these things that a lot of people would agree are wrong. They're right and wrong is subjective, but there are pretty general things that are right and wrong. And in that show, the whole point of Captain America, yes, I'll give him the title right now. Captain America could have stood up and said, I understand where you're coming from, but that's not right. We got, where the writers don't have a moral compass anymore. Or if they do, it's so far removed from the pulse of society that it comes off as almost alien with a lot of these things. And Marvel, with just the constant trying to either make your heroes fight or change your heroes for this reason or this or that, like, why can't you just take the time to build? Like Spider-Man 2 had Doc Ock. He was a great villain. Instead of making Spider-Man fight another Spider-Man like you would today, you make him fight the mirror image of Peter Parker. What if Peter Parker could achieve the things he wanted as a scientist? What if Peter Parker had the woman of his dreams? What if he had all these things and he had them ripped away? You would have Doc Ock. That's cool. That's compelling. Unlike today, where if you want those types of things, you just get a fucking person that's so similar. It's like, well, I need a character that's going to be able to do this. Oh, we'll just use Hawkeye again. Like, you don't even try the parallels. They don't even try to build anymore. Trevelyan was another great. He's one of the best Bond villains because he's James Bond with one bad day, like the Joker in was it Dark Knight? Not Dark Knight. Batman. Oh God, why am I blank on the Brian Boland one with the fucking picture? The Killing Joke. In The Killing Joke, doesn't the Joker say something along the lines? It only took one bad day to make me like me or whatever like that. So there's some kind of line I'm paraphrasing. If great characters can stand, great villains can stand on their own, or can come back. That's why Zemo was fun to have come back. That's why Loki can get his own TV show. And here's my ringing endorsement. I really liked the first 3 episodes. I haven't had time to watch the last 2, so I guess it's not that important to me. I don't know. I digress. So let's see. Marvel turned Captain America into a selfish prick. He was jealous of Tony to begin with, even more so when Tony had his happiness. Tony had to sacrifice himself. I was really on board with the Captain America morality train up through Endgame, because Civil War is one of my favorite Marvel movies because I got to watch Iron Man lose. You think, no, Iron Man won. Ego is a motherfucker. I cannot stand arrogant people in real life that can't back it up. Iron Man could because he's a fictional character, but that desire to watch an arrogant bastard get put in his place always makes me happy. And what makes me even happier is when he does it himself. Because Iron Man, Tony Stark, has created all of the problems that infect the Marvel world. And it's like, oh, but he's the hero. No, that's fun for me to say, yeah, Tony Stark does all these great things, but he's caused all these problems. What problems did he cause? Well, Ultron, for one. You created a fucking sentient AI that almost... How is he getting away with these things? I kept looking at all the death and destruction caused by Tony Stark trying to do good after he had done decades of evil and warmongering and profiteering and all this shit that he was a weapons manufacturer. I'm surprised. No, I'm not surprised that Paramount put that in the movie, because I talked about this on the show, and it'll be coming out this week, but I'm so tired of living in an era where we're expecting our heroes in quotations to be fucking perfect. Perfect people, perfect whatever. Like, and I don't mean this perfectly written or perfectly acted. I mean logically created. It's so boring to watch Captain Marvel. It's so boring to watch Ray. It's not because of the vagina factor. No, those are cool. Love them. They're fucking boring characters that don't suffer or work for anything. And you have people today that write these fucking things that want participation trophies, and they themselves have never faced any adversity. So they want to get online and get oppressed, and then they want to write shit. No. That's the wrong way to do it. And so when I watched Iron Man in Infinity War get stabbed, I cheered. I was the only person in the theater going, yeah, because I had been watching for 10 years at that point. This great guy, in quotations, that's getting all these accolades, you're really kind of causing all the problems yourself, buddy. Really, you are. And so that is why I took so much joy in watching Civil War go down the way it went. Because characters, I'm a different person compared to here. Like, in real life, give people a chance, this, that, and the other. But if you're telling a story, I want an absolute story that's going to fucking knock my socks off. I want to go, like, when they fought. I know this is a popcorn movie, but I find that there is value in these popcorn movies still. But most people are looking at dumb things or this or that, and they're getting over whatever. But, like, why Civil War is always in my top 5 favorite Marvel movies is the last however many moments. The minute they get to Siberia in that missile silo. Why? Because it's emotional payoff after emotional payoff. It's not story payoff for explosions or plot or whatever or spectacle. It's emotions. That is why I get invested in these characters, because I'm emotionally there. It's like, oh shit, what's going to happen next? We're going to watch 2 best friends fight. And you get there, and you're watching 2 people who've done fucked up things to each other justify it, apologize, and fight to the death. I love the fucking ending. It goes to show you how petty of a man Iron Man truly is. That suit of armor really is all he has. And people are thinking, no, he sacrifices himself. That comes later. He grew to that. He wasn't that man. He wasn't that Avenger in the fucking Civil War. You know why? Because his fault. That's my dad's shield. That is the most petty bullshit you could say. Go back and watch that movie. He is never use his father as a defense or anything. He killed my mom, this and that. Awesome, really impactful shit. But when you lose, when you're bested by your dad's creation, the guy that your dad looked up to more than you, that was more proud of helping create Captain America than creating Tony Stark, and then when you get fucking bested by the guy, you don't have a response, but that's my dad's shit, and he throws it down to spit in your face and say, hey, you know what, fuck you, I'm not what you said, I beat you, and I can leave the one weapon you have. To me, it was a great parallel to the line in the first Avengers, big man in a suit of armor, take that off, what are you? Genius, billionaire, playboy, philanthropist. Every fucking dickhead has quoted that to be funny. But guess what? In that movie, it didn't matter. He got his shit pushed in because he was a billionaire, a playboy, and a philanthropist. And guess what? You're a bitch. Actually, no, Iron Man's not a bitch. But my point is, you're a human. You're not all of these things. You're not untouchable. You're like us. And when we watch people like us go through these wonderful things or these traumatic things, oh, shit. I can relate. I can get it. You know what? My parents were not killed in an auto accident by a brainwashed sleeper cell agent. But my dad was killed in a plane crash. I understand the pain. I get that. I relate. By constantly taking these relatable dark moments out because, we want to sell to kids. They're kids' movies. They're family movies. Guess what? Old Disney family movies were the darkest motherfucking things out there. Bambi's mom dies. This parent dies. This happens. Quasimodo looks this way. He doesn't even get the girl. All of these Disney movies, really, it's not even a Disney problem. It's a society problem. Where have the teeth gone? Where have our balls gone in society? Entertainment is always a window, a mirror of the fucking climate, the world we live in. So what has happened? It used to be that you could have a full emotional spectrum for every piece of entertainment. You could laugh, you could cry, you could be there. Go back and watch Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, these big movies, the first Avengers, the last Avengers. They all are there. What is it now? That is so few and far between. And we live in this era where technology is better, this is better. All these things are better in quotations, but the things that require human effort are at an all-time low. This shit's important. If you want to look at it from, if you go, it's just entertainment. Guess what? It's a business. And if this business is irrelevant, I could say the same thing about the beverage industry. And I worked in the beverage industry. All these things, it's like, whatever. But you got to draw a line somewhere, and you got to care. Because if we don't care, they're not going to care, and it's never going to get better. It's not going to get fixed. So, yeah, I would apologize for my diatribe, but I actually enjoyed that one. Fuck it. So let's see. Care Companion, what is up to you, man? He said, hail Jeff a second ago. So, folks, check out where he's at. There we go. Hail to the chat who have never heard of you. Well, Care Companion, you are a longtime friend of the channel. And people should check out your work. Yeah, folks, check him out. He's written probably the best book on the Knight Rider car kit. So if you need to know anything about Knight Rider, Care Companion is your dude. And it's fun for me, who has always liked Knight Rider enough. I love the theme song, and I wasn't alive for it, but it's always been just a fun show to watch. Like the A-Team or Arrow, for any of these like 80s action shows that are Magnum PI, any of these types of shows. But knowing about the car, detail's fun. It's the same thing with Miami Vice or Back to the Future. There was something about 80s shows, movies, where the car was the other character. Excuse me. And it was cool. I missed that. Even Beverly Hills Cop, a crappy blue Chevy Nova. It had a personality. Wasn't much, but it had one. But I digress. Let's see what else we got here. How's Bad Batch going for you? Guess what? Kaboom, Keyboom. Stopped watching it. Did not like it. Have I bitched about it once? No, because as a wrestling fan, the WWE used to tell us, well, if you don't like the product, stop watching it. I don't like the Bad Batch. I don't like that this child girl clone shot the sniper. It's nothing to do with the female clone. I guess there's science behind it, and so, all right, there's science behind it. Oh, it's a fictional thing. I'll buy it. It's got to make sense. But training, I hate the trope. And this is from what I just bitched about a moment ago. I hate the trope of watching a character who's undeserved get the accolade. Everybody wants, and I'm going to make a fucking video on this. I'm tired of reiterating this point, so I'm just going to make a fucking concrete video. The Luke Skywalker Mary Sue argument is invalid because the entire film is spent showing Luke Skywalker as an excellent pilot. You're a great pilot like your father. You're an excellent pilot yourself. Luke is the best bush pilot in the Outer Rim Territory. How many fucking lines of dialogue do you need written into the movie that you're a great pilot? And guess what? When Luke's up there in battle, is Luke one of the first people to get shot? He doesn't blow up, obviously. He saves the fucking universe. But isn't Luke one of the first people to be shot and require help? I can't shake him. Blasted Biggs, where are you? All this shit. Again, characters facing adversity. It's so much more fulfilling when the climax happens, pun intended, when the characters were fighting for it. I don't care that I knew Iron Man 3 was coming out, but when I watched Iron Man carry that fucking missile through the thing and make the phone call in the build and this and that and the suspense and knowing what he was going to potentially sacrifice to save the world, I was invested. I'm like, oh man, because how many stupid bad movies are there that have the really profound emotional sacrifice that you're like, wow, this movie would be great if it was just the ending. Where's the Marvel movie that actually gives you that ballsy ending? But yeah, sorry to go off on that tangent. The Bad Batch, I just quit. I thought it was stupid that the girl hit the sniper and that's how they got away. And you're a trained clone and we've shown every scene with you in it. You are the best shot and you're doing this and you're the most dangerous, but a kid beats you. That's bad for me. That is bad storytelling when this unexperienced anything, child, man, woman. If Luke Skywalker fought Darth Vader on the Death Star, he would have died right away. He'd have got his head cut off. It wouldn't have been hand this, that. No, swiftly. Who are you? Another lightsaber? Vroom. Let's not kid ourselves. When that movie was made, that wasn't his father. But I digress. James, I wouldn't say the Loki series is really bad. I didn't like the first episode. I was really invested in the second one. And the third was very good. Almost a lateral step, which is not a critique, a bad critique. I've just been on a trip and I haven't had a chance to watch it. I do want to watch it. I do want to get caught up. I feel screwed over by WandaVision. I feel honey-dicked by Captain Winter Soldier Falcon. I keep wanting to say Captain Falcon. You know why. But I don't. And then this show, I just don't want to be honey-dicked again. And what I mean by honey-dicked in these shows is a whole lot of nothing. All my time for very little payoff. And then I got to go online and read about Easter eggs. No, I don't give a shit about Crocodile Loki. Is it good for the story? I don't know. I'll find out tonight. Like, whatever. Dakari Garmin says, dude, I was the same thing when Tony got stabbed. Thank you. I thought it was just me. I thought I was the only one that was sitting there going like, guys, I know it's cool to cheer on the hero, but the hero's kind of a dickhead. Let's let him sacrifice. And that's why I Am Iron Man is my favorite part of Endgame. I get it. He got it. The writers got it. And guess what? It's kind of like, I'm going to use a wrestling analogy. The year 2000, Rock Triple H, they had this great feud. They had this huge build to WrestleMania where The Rock gets screwed over and WrestleMania kind of sucked. But then you get to Backlash and The Rock finally wins the title. And it was a huge emotional payoff. Same thing with this. Maybe Infinity War was WrestleMania, but that scene was Backlash. And I waited, and it was worth it. I didn't mind. I really, really... I know this is kind of shitty to say, but I actually watched these movies happy that Tony Stark was at a disadvantage. Like, when he came back all thin and frail, I kind of laughed. I'm like, dude, for this... And it's weird, too, but again, it's like you've caused all these problems now on an intergalactic scale. Thankfully, the writers knew to give him a kid and make him happy. I love you 3,000 and then pull it away. Maybe it has something to do with the way I see entertainment, but I don't know. I like that sacrifice because we remember it. These aren't real people. These aren't real events, but they're real in our minds, and they should be presented to the best way possible at all points in time because it's an entertainment. It's art. That's what you do. Let's see. More talking about Tony Stark. Let's see. Joseph sent you an email about Tony Stark. Would love to read it. I am the Mandarin. Dude, the Mandarin doesn't even know what the hell it's supposed to be. So, Doug Couch says, hey, Jeff, what app do I need to download when we do our James Bond talk? Well, Doug, you only need to have a browser because we currently use StreamYard. We don't use Skype anymore for recording. Even when we record off-air stuff, StreamYard's the best. So you'll just need a URL and a link to that. Did we confirm a date yet? Shoot me an email if we did, and if we didn't, shoot me another email. But like this, if we committed to a date, as long as it's not the wedding, cool. We'll work something out. If we haven't picked a date yet, hold on till I get right back in town, and we can get the other guys when I'm back home and get everyone involved too. Now, if you just want to talk James Bond one-on-one, we can figure something out too. So just let me know. But I was thinking about I was thinking about James Bond the other day too, because I watched the movie yesterday, and Danny Boyle directed that. Danny Boyle stepped away from No Time to Die, and I didn't look at the timetable yet, but I thought to myself, did he step away from Bond to make this? And at first I didn't give a shit, because I'm like, Danny Boyle, he's cool. What, 28 days later, 28 weeks later? But there was a little bit of heart yesterday, and I was like, I don't want a heartfelt James Bond movie, but I want a James Bond movie that can, like, get some things right. Either give me, like, that stereotypical cardboard cutout action hero James Bond, which I'm fine with. I will happily watch. Or give me, like, and if you're going to go deeper, just don't make him damaged, and don't spend the time trying to fix what is broken in quotations about Bond. Oh, the toxic masculinity. People for 50 years went and watched that shit. Women too. These movies, I wish Hollywood and writers, here's the thing, these movies made all this money. Not every movie that made a bunch of money was a guy pulling his girlfriend by her hair to a theater, or a girl pulling a guy who was bald to the theater. Like Twilight made a bunch of money, dudes were dragged in there. Star Wars made a bunch of money. People just went because it's a fucking Universal movie. Let's not forget that these big Universal movies that may have more of a male audience have made all this money because women do like them. There's an audience. We have plenty of female listeners. I'm not going to name names, but we have one female listener who's been here since the very beginning, and she's still active all the time. There are other women that listen to this show. I didn't change it to appeal to more women. I don't do anything to appeal to more women or people, whatever. I do what I like, and it luckily appeals to people, and it brings them in. But I don't sit down and go, how can I get more women? How can I get more this? How can I get more that? Because that's like SJW shit. To me, it's just got to be good. Quality transcends ideology every time. You could sit around in a writer's room and make a list of all these things about what we need to do for society in this piece of entertainment, or we could just figure out the greater scheme of things, and, we could just make something great that stands the test of time. If you look at a list of the greatest movies of all time, and I'm going to right now, there's definitely a universal appeal to them all. Best movies of all time. There we go. Sorry. I'm using two different devices right now. Like I said, microphone's broken, using the new iPad with microphone, so hopefully it's a little better. But, all right, so the best movies of all time. Perfect. First, Star Wars. Second, Goodfellas. Thanks, Anna. Again, universal appeal of Star Wars, you cannot question that. Lucas knew. Maybe not. But Goodfellas, Reservoir Dogs, again, what I mean by universal appeal is male-female. So I guess I shouldn't use universal appeal because that's the wrong word. What I'm trying to say is it appeals to men and women, and it didn't need to change. I date a girl who loves crime movies, that's writing one herself. Do you think they need to, whatever, to make it more female? The one she's writing, it's a dude. There's no, his wife and girlfriend and shit are in the script. So people are out there, these movies appeal to everybody. Same with Reservoir Dogs, same audience. Lord of the Rings, that's the universal movie. Raiders, that's the movie. Social networks, guess what? Men and women use Facebook. That appeals to both. Avengers Endgame, the biggest movie ever? Well, formerly. Again, all of the big movies I'm looking at, Apocalypse Now, 2001: A Space Odyssey, There Will Be Blood, Empire Strikes Back, Silence of the Lambs, Pulp Fiction, all, again, male, female, what is the appeal? They appeal to everybody. It's just a story that works. Guess you can relate to people that don't look like you. I wish Hollywood understood that. Don't you? We'd all have a better time. It'd be so nice not to be looked at as just by my skin color. I thought for decades people had worked against that shit. But, not anymore. Thank you, James Lyon, for your kind words. Doug Keller says, morning, Jeff. How's the family doing? Looking forward to seeing my mom. She fell again, sadly, so not too good. It's been a rough year for her. It sucks having a mom who's in her 60s, but you worry about her like she's in her 90s because she's falling apart like that. So that part's kind of rough, but, I can jokingly say, what do I do? Well, I know what to do. I'm going to see her next week, and we're going to figure out what's going to be best for her, because if she keeps having shit like this happen, that's not going to be good for me, for her, for anything. So, Doug, thank you very much for your super chat. Not to bring it down, but GMPC is the show where I'm honest with the audience. It's like we have an AMA section. I know not everybody remembers that, but we used to do the AMAs for the last couple of minutes. It was awesome. A lot of fun. We can bring those back too. But thank you, Doug Keller, for your super chat. And sorry I read this out of order. Now, folks, if I read anything out of order, I'll go back and check. Because, again, 2 devices threw me off, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, Horsecock Johnson, thank you for your generous super chat. Great analysis of Tony Stark. I've had debates about the conflict in Civil War in the past, and it always ended the same. They call me a heartless a-hole. Well, you are. That's why I love you. When I say certain things, I don't try to build myself up to be this whatever. But like, I took debate classes. I understand a lot of these arguments with people are stupid emotional ones that they can't remove themselves from the conversation enough. It's like, look, I like Iron Man. I buy Iron Man toys. I own an Iron Man shirt. Whoop-de-doo. But like, I guess my way of showing my fandom is if I will give money to something like consistently, not just like, oh, I paid to see Captain Marvel. I made a bunch of money from the review. I have never spent another dime on Captain Marvel anything. Nothing. Why? I hate the character. I like Iron Man. But I'm also willing to be honest about Iron Man. And I wish more people could have that debate, because just because it's your favorite thing doesn't mean it's whatever. I think that's why I fight the way I do about entertainment and stuff like that, because when there is deeper things in our entertainment like this, people go, oh, it's so easy to just like it because it's funny or makes me feel good. I'm not putting the responsibility on the audience. I'm putting the responsibility on everybody. I wish people could just, like, I get it. I love Tony Stark. He makes me laugh, this and that and the other, but I'm also happy that he's dead. Very happy that he's dead. And that is why I dock Iron or Spider-Man points, because they're trying to make him that. I don't want that. Marvel missed out. The Marvel comics were so different, but they all tied together in a nice, cohesive way. The early Marvel movies were all different, but tied together in a nice, cohesive way. Everything's homogenous these days, folks. Go onto a streaming service. Everything looks the same. Go out to a movie theater. Most of the trailers look the same. They got the same downtrodden couple beats of trailer music, similar choppy shots. All trailers are the same. Everything has kind of become just a gray slog of bullshit. And it sucks. And so I don't think being a critic and being a curmudgeon are the same thing. I'm very well aware of, oh, the old man yells at cloud. Like this week when you guys listen to the show, we go on about video stores for a minute. And there's just a rant where I go, look, they sucked. Like, video technology is better. What are 20-year-old kids get nostalgic for a video store for? Like, it wasn't anything to get nostalgic for because it's in a Goosebumps TV show. Awesome. But watch that later. That's for that rant. But I find myself, I'm not the antithesis of fun. I want to have the fun things, but the why is so important to me. And maybe somebody would say, Jeff, if you remove yourself and don't worry about the why, you'll have a better time. But if I don't worry about the why, who's going to? People care about the why, clearly. And I think it's important to always have your why firmly established. Metal Mario says, the room appeals to everyone. Change my mind. Why would I want to change my mind? I agree. The Room's a great movie. I forgot I could do this without being on the computer.
There's always room for family.
Okay, that's the only one. Now, Doug Keller, thank you very much. He says, the best movie of all time is Straw Dogs 1971. I have seen both the remake and the original. That movie is fucking dark at times. And I suggest everyone watch it. The big scene in Straw Dogs that everyone talks about, the debate that's in there. That's a great film debate. That's a great relational debate. I liked the remake as well. I mean, Dustin Hoffman is a better actor than James Marsden every day of the week, but James Marsden is not a shit actor. He's been in bad stuff. He's been in hokey stuff. But he can, when need to, act. Beyond Cyclops, I've seen him in a couple roles where I went, cool. If Ryan Reynolds played the exact same role, everyone would probably kiss his ass. It's like, what did James Marsden do wrong with Sonic? It's as generic as anything else could have been. But when he does something, he's got it a little bit. Am I going to go to bat for the guy? Do I want to see more stuff? Definitely more comedies. Dude's fucking funny. Go watch Sex Drive. Great in that one. But, Doug, that is a very good movie. I love 70s flicks because 70s flicks, early 70s, pre-Star Wars, was that era where you had these big movies that were also like artsy movies or films, if you will. You understand what I'm trying to say? between like a film, a popcorn movie, and trash. Like film and popcorn movie can be on the same level in terms of whatever, because when a popcorn movie's on that level, it's the best ever. You know, you could have the argument, is Star Wars as deep as The Godfather? Yeah, you can. I would say so. I like Star Wars more than The Godfather. Star Wars is the only movie, let me rephrase that. Star Wars is one of the only genre pictures that can be put against every other piece of cinematic art and never have to take a back seat. You look at prominence, you look at impact, you look at execution. I talk about Star Wars like it's this mythic thing. It's just a fun movie that everybody likes. I know Disney has its claws and everything, but there's a reason why you can still walk into a store pre-Disney. There's a reason you could have walked into a store before the Disney buyout and pick up a Star Wars Blu-ray set, as well as a ton of Star Wars action figures. It worked. It hit. It stuck. Stood the test of time. But in the 70s, you had a lot of like Godfather, Straw Dogs, French Connection, Conversation, all these movies. You know, we hadn't had the modern blockbuster yet. And someone would argue, well, Jaws changed this, that, and yes, Jaws is the first blockbuster. But it isn't until Star Wars when you had more people trying to copy the formula. There's always been a formula. There's always been trends. Look at Bond. Oh, in the 1960s, everybody wanted to make a spy movie. In Like Flint, Our Man Flint's the same series with James Coburn, so I'm not fucking quoting that. But Mission Impossible is a direct response. I Spy. All of these shows, The Saint, The Avengers, the real Avengers, the one from the fucking 60s. Like, the time was right, the climate was right, and the copycats really show what is truly popular. So, yeah, Star Wars introduces that into the mainstream, and I'm okay with that. But I do love, like, that, I don't know how to put it like this. There's a level of quality, and some people would call it just like a boringness, but the narrative structure and storytelling was so important before the introduction of the special effect. And when something like Star Wars introduces the special effect, that kind of special effect, not the special effect, the Wizard of Oz and wonderful films beforehand existed, but like that go motion camera and all the things it introduced, it didn't rest on its laurels. It still had to be a great story in that modern setting. We have now lowered the bar for what a good enough story is, but spectacle is 80%, and people go. And you get these critics that go, oh, it's not that great, but it looks cool, and it's 10 out of 10. That's a bought Disney chill review right there. That ain't what I want. And the 80s, you have a ton of great big movies, but you also start to fall into it's got this, so we're going to pad it with that, and it's okay. It goes on. See, you can, let's see. Father Christopher Miller, I was laughing at your comment. I'm sorry, it took me off a point. He was called an a-hole on Twitter over his view of Black Widow not being the best Marvel film. I saved it, like the screenshot and stuff. And I just thought, this is a very, like, it's just like giving your opinion. Like, I did not like this Big Mac. And what did I do wrong? Nothing. I didn't like the Big Mac. But I'm treated like I'm called an a-hole. Okay, maybe Mark that made this Big Mac didn't try. And so I'm pissed. Like, why am I getting called an a-hole for just buying a product or not agreeing with an opinion? I would love, the number one thing I would love right now is if we could just get over, like, we all have to agree on this thing. Ooh, James Lyon says, Casino was great, but I think Goodfellas edges it out. You know, James, excuse me, I have two screens in front of me. I'm looking at your name, and I go, is his name James? As I look at James, excuse me. Casino is a personal favorite of mine. I would need to watch those back-to-back. Great Scorsese films. De Niro's in both. Gives a great performance. Joe Pesci gives a great performance. So you know what a dick Joe Pesci is in Goodfellas? And how he does all these terrible things. I take great pleasure in watching him get beat to death in Casino with the baseball bat. Leave my face for my mom. Wham! Like, I'm working on something, all kinds of things. But one thing I want to make one day is I want to have, like, Inglourious Basterds does this. I want to have this terrible character, not poorly written, but this evil bastard. And I just want to watch them get beat up or killed. Like, I would love... Star Wars is different because Vader redeems himself, but Raiders of the Lost Ark is not, because, God damn it, I love watching the Nazis melt and their faces suck in and explode. Like, there is a great pleasure. Indiana Jones does this very well, and I hope they continue this in the fifth one. I hope they do it to him, too. But they always give you the most satisfying villain deaths. I love a satisfying kill. Friday the 13th does it well awesome when you kill this innocent kid. Oh, they're not innocent. They're fucking well. We'd all be guilty if that was the case. Summer camp. It's boring as shit. If you can get some, get some. But I digress. John Wick. John Wick is the action version of Friday the 13th. Hear me out. You go to watch those movies because they're epic action movies, but you're going for the kills. I can sit and name off specific kills. We're out of the era where, oh, a good kill's for a slasher movie. Nah, epic kills are for all movies. I love that kind of shit. But what I really love more than anything is to just watch the bad guys get their comeuppance. So the more I get that, like in Inglourious Basterds, when Hitler gets shot in the fucking face at the end, it's funny. It's hilarious to watch his face chunk off and shit. Because you use something like that, the historical context, biggest villain ever, biggest piece of shit, boom, shot in the fucking face. It's poetic justice because in reality he was such a coward. He went off to a bunker with his bitch girlfriend and they killed themselves allegedly. Whatever. Fuck that. Pieces of shit. In history, they were cowards. But the movie, you get the payoff. So I know this is a weird roundabout way of ranting, James, but I enjoy that scene so much. Now, I also think Casino is just as good. Like, for example, Sharon Stone does a much better job, for me, with her character than whoever Ray Liotta's wife was. You know, only thing I remember is her freaking out and flushing the cocaine down the fucking toilet. Sharon Stone's character had some teeth to her. She was a bitch. So was Sam. Like, everybody. See, I either love a movie where everyone is a piece of shit treating everybody bad or a good positive story. I would prefer the positive story, overcoming adversity, they saved the day, happy, because you go out and you feel enlightened. You want to do better. I do. I personally, like when I go watch Star Wars or something and they get their medals, I'm like, yeah, cool, man. The day is saved. I'm ready to do whatever. But I also love movies where they're just like, what a piece of shit. And she's a piece of shit and he's a piece of shit and they hate each other. They make their lives miserable. Casino has that. I guess we could say Goodfellas does too. And it's got some great iconic stuff. But I don't know. Sorry to go on a long tangent, James. I just liked that. I also don't get why she went blonde, asks Michael. She's on the run, and it's just to cover her looks. They do say that in Black Widow, if that's the question you're asking about Scarlett Johansson. She's given a box of hair dye and something else, and, you know, that's it. She's just trying to hide the way she looks. Gentlemen prefer blondes. It's funny. I ended up dating the blonde. I'm like, I like brunettes. I like dark hair, but, you know, I just keep dating blonde girls, so that's cool. Doug Keller says, one of my coworkers asked me if I was going to watch Black Widow. I said, I can't just watch the actual, I can just watch the actual Mission Impossible at home. You know, Doug, I would tell people to just watch Winter Soldier this weekend. I think I did on the review, and then Winter Soldier was on last night. So again, it's that stupid, we live in a simulation. But I digress. It's weird. I don't have coworkers per se. Other YouTubers I interact with and stuff, but they're not really coworkers. We all are our own entities, which is cool. That's how it should be. That's like the Avengers. We all work better. We have our own comic book titles that have epic stories, but when we come together, they tell the even bigger stories. So, for example, Captain America has some great comic books, but it's awesome when he teams up. Iron Man, not that great at comic books, but, well, it depends. Every comic book title is cyclical. You have good and you have bad titles. And good titles have great runs, and good titles have terrible runs. Spider-Man, The Amazing Spider-Man, is an influential comic book series for me. I draw comics now. I love Spider-Man. That's what got me to want to do it. I don't buy the book anymore. Marvel has really shit the bed. But, you know, James, sorry, I'm talking to the other guy still. Doug, when it comes to just the Mission Impossible joke that you made too, as a guy that has watched all the Mission Impossibles multiple times, I got more spectacle. We brought this up too. I got way more spectacle. Tom Cruise is a crazy bastard, but god damn it, he puts everything into those Mission Impossible movies. I don't like his views on certain things, and I'm kind of uncomfortable if I ever had to share a room with him. But damn it, when I watch those movies, I go, this guy might kill himself to make this movie. That's awesome. This is real. This is whatever. Like, I understand the difference between a stunt and whatever. It's not really, you know, but if the actor is learning to fly the helicopter, or if the actor is doing this jump, or if the actor is really being hung on the side of a plane, stunts are stunts. The next evolution of that is, well, the actor is actually doing this stuff, or the actor is actually doing that. And Mission Impossible, I have never seen a film franchise reinvent itself so well. Bond has reinvented itself and it's in the fucking toilet. Other franchises like Star Wars and Star Trek reinvent themselves and then turn off their audience. What do you reinvent for? You want to make your audience excited again, not kill them off. There's this guy, I can't name names or anything, but this fucking guy that I've known has put himself out of business for being an idiot. That's what they're doing. They're putting themselves out of business for being idiots. You have a finite amount of money to spend on an entertainment product. Let's say you have $100 your budget. Okay, you're loyal to the Marvel brand. What does that mean? It means you'll go blindly see a movie that might be good, might not be? Okay, so the Marvel equivalent is Black Widow. It has nothing on any of the last Mission Impossible movies in terms of actually, with the exception of 2 and 3, there's nothing in this movie that is so much cooler than any of the Mission Impossible movies. The fucking helicopter chase in the first one in the tunnel that looks like CGI is still more entertaining or more suspenseful, shall I say. Because all of these action movies, these thrillers, need to be thrilling. I need to be on the edge of my seat. I need to, knowing that these characters are going to appear in 10 other titles, and this is a prequel and this is that, I don't care. Well, Jeff, Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom is a prequel. How many of you knew it on your first viewing? I'm doing this like pose because not many people knew it took place in 1935. You may have even read it on screen and you forgot about it. How many people have you met, including myself? I didn't realize Blade was a comic book movie. Blade appears in Marvel Comics. Guess what? Sometimes you just miss the credits. So I digress on that point. But Mission Impossible, John Wick, you can find better action movies out there today. Black Widow is not the best action movie anywhere. You have to go back 25 years to find mainstream action movies that are that much lesser that makes this look good. This is a fine 6 out of 10 movie that is really, really, really average. Let's see. Lots of stuff about the 70s. Love it. Just trying to pull up. Folks, I've been playing around with upgrading from StreamYards. Do you guys have any other recommendations? I like it enough, but it's been having lag issues, and what I think is happening is they want me to upgrade to the premium version, so they made this version shittier. And put it like this, their top price is not as bad as whatever, but it's got to be fixed. So if you guys know, like, does live stream work better, or this or that, I'm always down for recommendations. So let's see. Walker, Texas Ranger said, I've got more testosterone in one ball than everyone on planet Earth. Well, guess what? Since you're Walker, Texas Ranger, I have a button for you.
Oh, well, pardon my French, but I'll be damned.
Walker told me I...
I like that one for me. I first saw Blade in the 90s Spider-Man cartoon. As did I, Darthside. Still didn't notice. Honest answer, different shade of skin threw me off. Outfit threw me off. Facial hair, lack thereof, threw me off. It wasn't even a... See, James Hancock. I didn't even know Blade was a Marvel character when I saw the movies all those years ago. I just thought it was an awesome movie. Yeah, I mean, a good movie. Comic book movies don't get a pass because they're based on a comic book. They also don't get dinged because they're based on a comic book. Road to Perdition is based on a graphic novel. And let's be honest with ourselves for a minute. Graphic novel is an accurate term, but it's also one of those churched up terms that people like to use. Trade paperback is very accurate. Comic book is a nice encompassing phrase. I've met people that are like, I don't do comics. I'm a graphic novelist. I'm like, you make comic books. Maybe they're longer, but you make comic books. Carrick Mason's Mission Impossible Fallout was an excellent bridge to the previous films. That was the last one, right? I just thought Mission Impossible Fallout was excellent in general. Yes, the bridge in terms of his wife and Part 3 and all that bullshit J.J. Abrams brought in, and then the syndicate from the other films. Nobody's here to tell me to like a movie or this or that. I just watch those Mission Impossible movies and I'm like, you know what? Somebody's trying. I don't know if it's Tom Cruise or Christopher McQuarrie, whoever is involved, but somebody is presenting a really good film franchise in an era where most franchises shit the bed. Fast and Furious 9, not going to support it. Kind of John Cena's fault, just putting it out there, but I'm not going to go see the movie. What? Where's the line drawn with a lot of this stuff? For me, it's that. Let's see. I love the Spider-Man cartoon in the 90s, says Metal Mario. So do I. Big fan. Now, I have to say, let's see, Jeff, try adding the Deco Mesh Wi-Fi. Okay, I will try that. About the Spider-Man cartoon in the 90s. Love it. still, hold it in high regard, but Spectacular Spider-Man has topped it for me personally. The art style is lesser than the 90s, but the animation is so much more fluid that Spider-Man feels like Spider-Man. And the 90s cartoon reuses a lot of footage, and the older I get, I can see the seams, and I can also see where television censorship prevented them from telling a great story. And the reason I can't give it a pass is because X-Men and Batman, concurrent shows, didn't fall into those holes. I'll give Batman the pass because it got away with a lot of the shit. But, there was just a lot of decisions that were made on that show that helped it pass, and it's a kid's show and this and that, but kids' shows don't have to be dumb. And I wouldn't call Spider-Man dumb. I just watched a lot of other shows that had more teeth, that actually taught you or were impactful. Batman teaches you stuff about humanity that you didn't even realize you learned as a child. Spider-Man, not really. Aunt May's got a brain tumor possibly or something like that, or she's sick. Oh no, Aunt May, she's got to get the X95 from Dr. Kurt Connors or else her heart's going to explode. Yeah, that's a cool story to tell, and I like it, and clearly I'm passionate, but watching Batman watch the woman he loves come back into his life and get sucked away, that's way more impactful than watching Batman out in the fucking rain, looking out at the life he lost. Making a character more human seems boring, but we were still selling a bajillion toys and buying the video games and shit. Where did the disconnect come from? You can buy the mindless product and have the deep thought and the discussion. I don't care. Fuck it. I'll just move on. Breadman Productions says, I wouldn't want to be in a room with Les Grossman. Neither would I. He's going to tell me to fuck my own face. Let's see. American studios won't let their animated shows for TV have blood or guns, and now they can't punch or kick anymore. You can't tell a good action story that way. Jamie, that is it. Those have been problems for a long time, and I guess they've gotten worse. That sucks. I know Spider-Man had to have laser guns, and Batman could use real bullets. Hear me out for a moment, though. We don't want kids to replicate what they see on TV. So we show guns with laser blasts. Nobody uses a real gun with a laser blast, so that's kind of fake. Make the guns on TV realistic, and they're kind of scary. I'm not saying you need to scare kids, but it's shielding them from the realities of the world, at least on this topic, you're not making the right choice. You think you're protecting them, but it's kind of a thing where it's I don't know, teach them without teaching them indirectly. Greetings from El Salvador, says Omar F. Rodriguez Morales. Well, greetings from Philadelphia right now, my friend. Thank you for joining us this morning. Greetings from Okinawa. I would love to be able to read your name. I apologize because I don't know the characters, but thank you for joining us from Okinawa. I am not that excited for Black Adam in the way, at all, but I watched Shazam yesterday with Jesse and changed my opinion on the film. I like it more than I used to. I liked it before, but it's the only film that captures that wonderment and that realism of the DC universe existing. Meaning, it's the only DCEU film that feels like a world. Batman, Wonder Woman, Superman all feel disjointed. When I watch Shazam, it feels like that we're in the world where all those characters are real and they influence the world. So when he says, yeah, Superman that shit up, and he's trying to make him fly, cool. Superman is the frame of reference for our flight characters like it is in the real world. The Superman punch, Superman this, Superman that, Superman flavored ice cream. Superman has always been our top standard for peak physicality, peak humanity. It's a normal everyday thing. So it's kind of cool to see it in film. Again, verisimilitude. It's just a slight thing to make it a little more realistic and help us take a step into that world with them. It makes us feel that much more connected. And when you're grounded and connected and care, anything that comes next, you'll be involved with, or at least tangentially involved with, because you're going on that journey. And if they can get you to care, well, then you're going to care beyond just that screening, but forever. And that's where your forever money comes from. In 1996, I saw Star Wars. It changed my life. I've spent how many thousands of dollars on Star Wars? Star Wars has been good to me right back. So the thing is, you do what you love, you find what you love, you buy what you love, and Sometimes when the stuff you love, you don't love anymore, you just don't spend money on it. So I love The Rock. He's my hero. Not afraid to say it, but I don't really care about Black Adam. He's just The Rock. And he's too big to play anything besides himself. So now, El Gallo de Oro, this isn't directed at you, so don't take this as like I'm mad at your question. But if you're asking me if I'm excited to see Black Adam, no. Am I excited to see The Rock act as himself as a superhero? No. And it's weird, too, because all I wanted for you when he quit wrestling, I'm like, man, I just want to watch The Rock. Now it's like I can watch The Rock, and there's a ton of movies, and this time I'm like, it's not that cool anymore. Actually, it's not that it's that. It's just that I've changed whatever public version he's changed. And at the end of the day, I want him to be The Rock. He's a little more extreme. Like this smiley Dwayne Johnson and stuff that you talk about, I'm used to him. If The Rock ever ran for president, if they played TV clips of him, you couldn't cancel it because he's that popular, but that's the shit they would try. They did it with Linda McMahon. And the thing is, like, maybe that's what the WWE is secretly doing. They're sanitizing his image. No, I'm just joking. But my point is, like, there was an edge to The Rock. He was cool. He used to come out and talk shit. I never saw him smile. I kind of liked that. Now you see him on TV, he's smiling, he's hugging everybody. He's a good dude. And that's what's important in life. Those are the real important things. But I'd be lying if I didn't want him to say, shut your mouth, jabroni, and all this shit. What I'm trying to get at is The Rock isn't The Rock anymore. He's Dwayne Johnson. The old Rock, it's still in there. There's a glint in his eye, man, but he's just not that. Let's see what else we got. Oh yeah, there are other topics this morning. Sorry, folks. Went on a fucking tangent, and it was fun, and it is fun. The show's not over quite yet. I wanted to ask your take or get your take on this. So, Dave Filoni. People say Dave Filoni is the savior of Star Wars. I say Dave Filoni has been involved with really good Star Wars. He's getting his own action figure. How do you feel about this? Looks fine. It's a very low-cost toy that is a reused Luke Skywalker body. You can actually see the lightsaber hole on his belt. That's how much Hasbro has put in time. Oh, there it is right there. So, I mean, this is clearly... God, that face looks dopey. To be fair, all of Hasbro's faces look dopey. They don't... The way it works now, historically, you would sculpt an action figure in wax, maybe 2 or 3 or 4 sizes up. Then it's like sized down, and then the toy's painted by hand to varying degrees of quality. Now there's this new technology where they scan your face, not really 3D print your face, but 3D sculpt your face, essentially. And then they print the paint on. You get a more realistic looking toy, but if only from certain angles, and if done wrong, looks dopey. So, for example, this Dave Filoni figure is cool, but I feel like he's looking down. But either way, the point I wanted to make, he's getting toys. Half of the Rise of Skywalker didn't get a toy. This is just me saying, hey, Disney, fuck you. Lucasfilm, kiss my ass. Guess what? Your Star Wars sequel movies didn't work. They failed. Where's the support? If I'm looking at all these anniversary toys from Star Wars, we got Dave Filoni. Good for him. There's also, there's more of it. See what I mean about the face technology? God, his head is, look at that honker of a head, too. Whew. And then there's the box. But there was more that they're putting out, too, in terms of Star Wars figures. An Obi-Wan Kenobi 3-pack. It's Obi-Wan, Ponda Baba, and Dr. Evazan, or Evazanaz, or however you pronounce his name. I don't care. He doesn't like you. I don't like him either, so I don't know his name. But he's got that. And then there was one other anniversary figure, and there was no Disney Star Wars stuff. I know what I'm doing when I say this, but where is it, guys? Where is it? I have been told I'm a bigot, sexist man baby for not buying Rey. Guess what? Hashtag where's Rey? Where's Rey? Why can't I buy a Rey action figure? Why can I not go down the street to Target and get the best Star Wars character ever? Why can I not get why can't I get Skywalker herself? Self-appointed Skywalker. That's her fucking name on this channel. Self-appointed Skywalker. Why can't I walk into any major American retailer that sells merchandise, and why can't I not pick up a Star Wars figure featuring the second coming of Christ? Because she fucking sucked, and we've been lied to for years. So, folks, I just wanted to make that point briefly. There's nothing else to say. Again, merchandise dictates what is popular. Companies will not take an investment anymore to make random bullshit to appease a fucking company. Disney forced Hasbro to make those decisions, and that is why I was able to find mountains, literal mountains of Star Wars merchandise to fucking rot till Toys R Us closed. You want to get it for a penny? It still wouldn't sell. The fucking Rogue One figures from the best Disney Star Wars movie I have video proof. Go back and watch from 2018 as I'm all sad about Toys R Us going out of business. We're looking at everything in the store. And what's that? 3 things refuse to sell at every Toys R Us. Star Wars Black Series figures, that Disney Infinity game with the Star Wars characters, and this weird Megazord from the newest iteration of the Power Rangers. Every fucking Toys R Us had that shit. Why did they have all this Star Wars stuff? Because they were forced to make it. It's like A Nightmare on Elm Street. Remember when it's all dark and scary and Freddy's got all the power, and then they wake up and it's like that new day? Follow me for a second. This is the new day. We're all excited. It's bright and sunny. Glenn's got his car. He's alive. My mom's not an alcoholic. X, Y, and Z. My mom's not, but she is in the movie. Point is, everything seems cool, and then Freddy Krueger sucks you right back in the window. Enjoy this time, folks. What I'm trying to get at is they're going to make a ton of merchandise based off shit we kind of like, and then that new wave is going to be a bunch of shit nobody likes. Because what is happening? This new merchandise based on shit everybody likes isn't really new. How many Obi-Wan Kenobi figures are there? How many Dr. Evazan and Ponda Babas are there? What exactly is new about them? Nothing. We're just remaking old shit. That's a problem in movies. It's a sign in merchandise. If you can sell Obi-Wan Kenobi for 50 years, Luke Skywalker for 50 years, and all these characters for 50 years, they are perfect. They don't need to be changed. They don't need to be updated. They don't need to be molded for today's standards. They also don't need to be cast aside. There was a fucking hugely beneficial toy line for decades for Star Wars, even after the movies had been out. Because I know people go, well, the prequels were out and this and that. Look, I respect the prequels. I like them enough. I was there for them. I'm the right age. Nothing has the cultural impact that the old Star Wars does. Because if it did, we would have other franchises from that long ago still every day, still relevant. So popular. Then you can ruin it quickly. But what you can't do is find anything that had reached those heights. So let's see. Jack Porkins. Jack Porkins does have a figure. I think Porkins is more... Iceman Modeler says, hate scanning. I like to make stuff from scratch. I would like to see some of your work. If you have a link to an Instagram, I'm a big art guy, toy guy. I follow, hold on, let me give them a quick shout out because they keep tagging me in this Kathleen Kennedy figure, and it's awesome. And I just want to make sure that they get the shout out they deserve because it's like, yo, this is a great piece of work, and people need to check it out. So guys, check out Cease and Desist Props. They have an Emperor Kennedy figure, and yeah, this is great. Somebody says it's the best thing ever. Not only is it well thought out, it actually looks like Kathleen Kennedy is the Emperor. So Cease and Desist Props, folks, on Instagram. Highly recommend you guys check them out because they make cool stuff. But Iceman Modeler, I'd like to check out your stuff too. So if you could tell me, maybe post it to Facebook. Love to check it out. Wyatt Holiday says, just some love for Jeff and WCBS. I look forward to hanging out again soon. Keep rocking on with Stealing Solo. Well, Wyatt, thank you very much for your generous super chat. And thank you for your kind words. I will be continuing to rock on. I guess I treat like my next projects as secretive when they're really not because everyone's going to want to know about them. I've just been really taking time with this iPad. I mean, it's only been a few weeks. Let's be honest. When did the book close? Early May. Like, for my end, in a way, it's done. But my point is, I got 1,000,001 plans. I keep talking about them like this is a secret clandestine thing. But, you know, those SJW trading cards are the thing I'm working on. Probably going to get those done over the summer and have those out and still be able to do Wokebusters. So thank you, Wyatt, for giving me the opportunity to talk about stuff. Very, very fortunate that Stealing Solo was the huge success. And I'm very fortunate that I had the audience that wanted to check it out, and that's here for other stuff too. And thank you for the love. I've been away. It feels like I don't love WCBS. I've just been so busy to make sure I get everything right for everybody. But I do. I'm happy to be here. I was working on some stuff. It took me a little bit to get ready for this morning. As you guys know, I had the podcast up and other stuff like that. But I was like, man, I'll do this for about an hour and then I'll go to lunch. We're nearing 2 hours and I still got a couple topics to talk about. So clearly I'm having fun, and thank you folks for joining me. I really do need a secondary channel for this shit. So let's see. We caught up on everything. Yeah, she did jack that. She stole the name. Is that... Phonebox Chicken says, is that EVS guy as the extra in Star Wars? It looks... You could take the Dave Filoni head sculpt, and a good modeler could take that as a base, and you could probably make a pretty convincing Ethan figure. Because not that I think Ethan looks like Dave Filoni, I think this figure looks wrong. Let's see. By the way, Clone Geek, I'm not Dion. Dion is not here. If we look at the picture of World Class Bullshitters under blue first, that is Jeff, that is me. That is the voice you hear. Dion is next in orange, Nick is in purple, and Kendo is the red guy. And what I mean is the color of their backgrounds. So Dion is deathly afraid of horses and mannequins, and we're going to troll him this week. But I, sir, am not Dion. Care Companion, thank you very much for backing everything. In a couple days, I'll be going to Ohio. I have some of my books sent there, so I'll be able to show everybody how cool they look. I'm excited. I got proofs and demos and all this other shit. I'm just excited. So let's see. Thank you, Joseph Bianowicz, but I think my quads are a little tighter. Wyatt, we hung out on Mandy's channel. Dude, we got to do that again because Mandy Summers is a lot of fun. I didn't, like, when she had me on, she's like, I want to help you promote your book. And I'm like, cool, thank you. I didn't realize I'd be having that much fun because promoting the first time, it was a Comicsgate community, it wasn't really a thing, or it was a much different Wild Wild West. But Mandy, I'm like, all right, cool, we're going to do this. Fatal J had me on his channel. I believe Fatal J was the first person, and that was cool. It's Fatal J. We always have fun. But the way Mandy, like, promotes books and shit, like, I love it. Like, I'm going to buy all of her books just because she's fun. Like, we've been on a couple of her streams. She's been on mine. I want to get her on the High Council one of these days. Like, Mandy's cool, and she's always been a good friend. So I'm glad that you were there, got to watch and hang out. Cara Companion asks, does Filoni's figure come with a genuine crazy Kathleen Kennedy soy latte fetch in action? I don't know. I hope. Can I just take a quick second? One of my least favorite things ever on toys were the ones with the action features. Man, I would get some, and they're like, oh, this looks cool. And it's just like Spider-Man can't bend his arm because he's got to look like, this. Like, I hate the, the action features over sculpting. Cool. And, I was trying to pull up this Darth Kennedy figure for you since you brought up, there we go. So let me show this from Cease and Desist Toys. Since we have our Dave Filoni figure, it's only fair that we show the Kathleen Kennedy figure that has been made. I figure, hey, no pun intended. There we go. So there she is. Tell me this isn't amazing. I'd buy 10 of them. Realistically, if this guy did a batch of customs, I'd buy some and do a giveaway here on the channel because this is perfect. Kind of what I want to do. I love action figures. So, yeah, thank you, KR. You know what's up. The action features limit what you can do. I just want a good sculpt and good articulation. Actually, I want a great sculpt and great articulation. I will pay for toys as long as they're good. There's a reason I have some Mafex. Some would argue, well, Mafex, Jeff has low quality control. I haven't had a Mafex figure break once. So, uh-oh. Somebody said some words in the chat, and I now got to press the button. Who said it? Eric Bay Anderson, you, sir, are the winner. What do you win? No, bitch! Since you said it, I had to press it. I fucking love it. Yes, she looks nice and insidious. Dion has more fears than Wade from Garfield and Friends. Oh, yeah. I will never deny that Dion's afraid of stuff. I love it. What would you guys do with your Kathleen Kennedy action figure? Personally, if I had one that was out of the box, I would stage her to get super kicked by Shawn Michaels. Oh no, hold on. You guys ever seen the movie Small Soldiers? Remember the part where Alan wakes up and they got Archer? hanging up from a fishing pole over the garbage disposal. I'd like to remake that scene of Kathleen Kennedy's figure. Batman, well, I believe, could be wrong. This part I know is right. McFarlane Toys was making Star Trek. I have purchased both figures, Captain Picard and Captain Kirk. For claiming how much I dislike The Next Generation and all this other stuff, I like Picard. There's something about the visage of Patrick Stewart as Picard. I like it. So I tend to buy a figure or a little whatever, just to like say, I'm not a Star Trek Next Generation guy, but he's cool. Same thing with, now, Captain Kirk, on the other hand, I love the old Star Trek. I watched almost all the movies over this past week. I'm a fan. I bought that figure as well. And on the back, they had, coming soon, Michael Burnham and Spock. I thought, I cannot wait to buy Spock because I know this is going to piss off some fans. As soon as I get my Kirk and Spock, I'm done. No more Star Trek figures. I don't need Scotty. I don't need McCoy. I don't need Uhura. Love them. If the figures weren't priced the way they were, I probably would get the whole crew. But I digress. Point is, they tried. They told us Star Trek Discovery figures were coming. They never showed up. I love that. I love that they couldn't even sell it. Let's see. Jeff, you and I have some more voices. I'd love to work with a stream and mess with Theon. Well, Joseph Bianovich, that can be done. You definitely should be on a stream with us. Definitely. So, some of the topics else I wanted to cover. So we talked about Black Widow ad nauseum. We talked about Dave Filoni's Star Wars. What else did we want to talk about? Oh, yeah, Matt Damon. Let me just share something briefly about Matt Damon. Nothing politics. Probably thinking, oh, just going to talk about his take from bounding into comics and all that stuff. I don't do politics. But what I do is I like to talk about celebrities when they make a big mistake. So, Matt Damon, let me just pull up the quick one. Matt Damon says his biggest career regret is turning down James Cameron's Avatar. Yeah, I read this yesterday, and I laughed so hard. Matt Damon says his biggest career regret was turning down Avatar and 10% of the entire franchise from James Cameron. I know, Matt Damon's probably worth $100 million. Nobody cares. Oh, Matt Damon, this, that, and the other. But fuck, man. Avatar, if you made 10% of Avatar, at this point you would have made $280 million. Maybe. If we're just taking the $2.8 billion and doing the 10% of that. That's a lot of money. $2.8 million is a lot of money. $287,000 is a lot of money. But $280 million. A lot of fucking cash. So I'm taking great pleasure in Matt Damon having missed out on an opportunity. No, actually, I take that. I'm not taking great pleasure in that. I'm just laughing because it's like, fuck, man, what would you do? The guy that ended up taking Avatar. Now, here's an interesting question. Since Matt Damon wasn't an Avatar, but Sam Worthington was, do you think Avatar would have made more money with Matt Damon? Or do you think it would have been Matt Damon, forgettable franchise? Kind of like the later Bourne movies. I don't know what happens in the third one outside of Patty Considine, but God, what would you guys have done? Chump change. God, Liquor Jim says he turned down 10%. The 10% deal. Imagine just the ticket sales plus the merchandise cut. So, like, that's what I was going with, Liquor Jim. 10% of the box office, $280 million. I don't know what Avatar made in terms of whatchamacallit, merchandise, because it really doesn't have much of a footprint, but it's still a fuckload of money. I just thought that was kind of funny. Let's see, I forgot Matt Damon existed. Matt Damon's been doing fine stuff. My opinions on Matt Damon have pretty much stayed the same. He's a good actor. I don't really know much about him. I don't want to. He's just fine. He's Matt Damon. I think he has a pretty good sense of humor, though, because of the shit he does. Like, hey, Eurotrip is a nothing movie. Scotty doesn't know it's hilarious, but it's better that Matt Damon sings it. It's awesome that Matt Damon shows up in Thor. Matt Damon's one of those low-key cameo guys. Yeah, he's an A-list actor. The Martian was good, but downsizing looked stupid and pointless. So he's a big A-list actor. Not everything's great, But it is funny when he does shit like that. So I guess I like Matt Damon enough. I don't know. I want to watch Team America all the time. Matt Damon. I want to do a cut, Matt Damon from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, but that'd be a real deep dive. Let's see. Like to make statues. Action figures have articulation, which can get annoying and add. Also, they create visible seams. Iceman Modeler. I've always looked at action figure joints and stuff and been like, it's part of the thing, part of the beast. I like the fucking seamless stuff, the technology. I wonder how many years removed we are from a good 6-inch figure with rubber skin that doesn't degrade and rip right away. Because a lot of the hot toys that have rubber body parts that look screen accurate are already deteriorating, sadly. So the seams bother me. I know you have some higher end figures that do have seamless bodies and stuff. But I mean like licensed figures. So like when I pick up a WWE figure, no joints, nothing. They just look like real little people. I want that. I'm also okay that we're not quite there. I found that certain high-end action figures do look like pieces of art. Like, for example, the Mafex figures look like Jim Lee artwork, physical 3D embodiments. And they're able to, with the exception of the cape, translate his art one-to-one. So there are nice workarounds. But I find myself in awe of a lot of the statues. I only own one. I had a couple statues. I had The Rock. I had Indiana Jones one and something else. So I only have a handful. And I have a Han Solo. My mom's boyfriend bought it for me years ago. But I have this Han Solo statue too. I love statues. Even the sticker shock isn't that much of a problem. I think what it is, I'm just a big kid. I love the idea of a big statue. I at least want to hold my Batman or my Superman or anything like that. So, no. So statues are awesome, but dude, I think when I'm old and retire, I do know what I'm gonna do when I'm old and retire. I'm gonna buy a 3D printer and make my own action figures. That's my life when I'm old. That or retire from what I do. It'd be fun to teach art. I would enjoy that. I have the patience. I don't want to be a teacher. My cousin's a teacher. It's a thankless job at times, so it'd be fun to just do it old school. I like the metal armatures and stuff. I think that's cool. And yeah. So now one thing I wanted to mention, because it's in the title real quick, and then we're going to put this baby to bed. Cyberpunk 2077 was June's most downloaded game. So all of the doom and gloom and negativity around Cyberpunk, once it comes back and it's fixed, it looks like people were really ready to come back. So what I'm trying to say is, even big places like a CD Projekt Red, everybody has a misstep. It's interesting to see how quick audiences want to forgive. There's nothing wrong with that. Personally, I'm glad that Cyberpunk's getting another shake. Why is this cutting out? Personally, I'm just glad Cyberpunk's getting another shake because I bought that game for the Xbox and I had no problems. I know the lag and the glitches and stuff were very depending on the person. I didn't have any. I also know that games that I've had a ton of games with glitches, and sorry, I don't know what's happening real quick. I digress. But yeah, Cyberpunk is back. Let's see. It was the most downloaded game for June on the PlayStation 4. I don't know how often they release these numbers. I find it interesting that only Disney releases the numbers when they're good. But I wonder what's the deal with this. Now, coming up just behind Cyberpunk was Grand Theft Auto 5. Jesus Christ. I love Grand Theft Auto. I bought that game on day one. I skipped school. Okay, a class. When I started paying for my own... Actually, no. I never had anyone pay for my own college. College was always my own responsibility. Once I got to the University of Cincinnati, and I don't know, I had switched schools. I was like, I'm going to take school even more seriously. I was a good student, but I took it like super serial at the end. And graduated on the dean's list. Long story short, I'm not here to pat myself on the back. Even when I was at my most dedicated for school, I fucking skipped to go get Grand Theft Auto 5. I couldn't wait. I had the pre-order. This was me. I went to my first class because we had a test. Then I got in line at GameStop, which was right up the street. I picked the GameStop by University of Cincinnati. If you're a fucking UC student somehow, you know the GameStop that's still there by the B-dubs. But I went, had a great time getting the game, called into Papa John's Pizza, called up Papa John's, let that game install, got the fuck back to my house. I don't think I went to school the next day. GTA was the last thing I skipped. And that was like 9 years ago. Excuse me, 8 years ago. This September. That was 8 years ago that I was having so much fun. Rockstar, you got to have another game out. I'm so tired of people. Well, they're waiting on perfection. No, they're just cashing on the online. I'm tired of all this bullshit. Rockstar, do better. Because people are like, well, how are they going to do better? GTA 5 was good, but it could have been greater. That map, it's awesome, but I guess because we've had the game for so long, I'm tired of it. Maybe, I don't know. When you were pumping out more games, Vice City, San Andreas, you had 3 masterpieces in a row. I don't need that, so I can, I like having a game for a long time and getting invested in it, but it's a little too long. Thank you. So, folks, I'm going to get out of here. It's been a nice 2-hour stream. It's been a lot of fun, but I want to put this baby to bed. So thank you for watching. We will have 6 more Good Morning Pop Cultures. They will be fun, and we will work on stuff. Just join me every time, working and lurking. And by the end of this rotation of Good Morning Pop Cultures, we'll have the mug available. So you can be like Cesario Japan, working and lurking. I know Joseph Bianowicz is going to get going too. So yeah, take a mug. We'll give you guys all the information on that. So from all of us here on the channel, thank you for watching. Be smart, be safe, be cool, but always be excellent to each other.